Hey, you. Yes, you watching this. Do you ever get bored of logging into a Minecraft server and being the only person online? Doesn't it feel bad when you spend countless hours grinding alone to not even have a single person to show your amazing base to? Well, do I have the thing for you. By becoming a Tier 2 Fangies or above, you will receive access to this amazing community, with a Discord server where you can show your amazing creations, and a private section for members only, in case you are the shy type. We count with passionate moderators that help keeping the community safe and friendly, and frequent events to promote activity, where you can receive amazing rewards. Join now and enjoy the 4 different worlds, specially designed to cover all your needs, with a shared inventory and a shared chat, so you remain a close part of the community anywhere around the server. But that's not all, because if you join today, you will receive one of these 3 crazy-looking RGB hats, and who knows, maybe even pats from 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 herself. So what are you waiting for? Go check my Ko-fi page in the video description, or ask me directly on Discord for more info on how to join the Fangies family. We are not responsible for potential strokes due to excess amounts of fun or head injuries from 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬's excessive padding. That was such a fun intro to make. In fact, I loved the intro so much I even made a short out of it. Some of you might have seen it pop up some days ago. I had this idea in my head to recreate one of those silly TV commercials that are quite fast-paced and keep bombarding you with more stuff. It was such a fun project to work on. But 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬, isn't it weird to throw the ad at the very beginning of the video? Well, maybe, but I know that many of you always leave before I even have the chance to put my ads. But 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬, you never really put ads. You even forget to mention that people can join the server in the first place. So anyway, today I'm kind of in a pickle. I'm not too sure what project I want to tackle first. One idea was to start making the Cobble generator. Many other projects depend on that, so it's not a bad idea. But I want pickaxes for that project, and I don't have the resources yet. Then I need an XP farm to mend the tools of the machines and other shenanigans. But without having the tools in the first place is a bit unnecessary for now. I also want to start working on the workstation, but I also want pickaxes for that project and many other resources I really don't have yet. So I thought I would make a drill, but I kinda also want pickaxes for that project too. Like I said, kind of in a pickle right now. I tell you what's not a pickle, my awesome mail. Oh nice, Wolfie sent me some. Let's start with Wolfie. Oh yeah, these are the flowers I needed. Thanks, Wolfie. We are going to use these in a second for an item that I wanted to try on the bats. What else do we have here? More profits from my barrels, that's always nice. And a pokey from 𝐋𝐤𝐬𝐬. That's so nice. I always want to get used to this thing, but I just end up throwing it away after a while for some reason. Let's check out that item though. I know that I needed poppies for it, but I kind of forgot what the item was for. Oh, okay. It's to make them aggro without having to command them. Yeah, that's pretty useful, of course. That makes sense. I guess even if it has some ears on the icon, it pretty much is just an accessory slot after all. Fair enough. Well, let's go find out what this thing does, shall we? I tell you what, we really need a better place to go hunt mobs. Going down this water is getting old. Oh, there it goes. Holy cow. Did you see that? I mean, yes, the accessory seems to be working perfectly. The bat is going full aggro on any nearby enemy. But look at that knockback though, it's massive. I'm pretty sure that for some weird reason, it's taking the knockback from the pokey. I'm not entirely sure if that's intended or completely bugged, but this looks quite hilarious though. Alright, this was enough testing. There are too many skeletons in here for my liking. I think this was a massive success. Not only the item clearly works perfectly, the bat is also randomly using the massive knockback of the extendo grip, which I think it's hilarious to be honest, and just makes me wonder what would happen with 10 bats instead of 1. But that will have to be for later. As fun as procrastinating was, we actually need to progress on the industrial area. Let's hop into the creative world so I can show you a couple of things I was testing with. I was refreshing my mind with some Cobble generator designs. I want to see if inspiration strikes and we can come up with a funny setup for the industrial area. But since we are here, let me explain a little bit what's going on. This one is designed to break stone instead of cobble, since that one is marginally faster to break. That's why the lava needs to be above. Basically, when flowing lava reaches water in any state, but specifically from above, it makes stone. This other design is obviously more compact and we can stack more of them together. But it still uses pumps, and that will cost more performance than generating the stone naturally. We don't really have a problem with scale, we can honestly go as big as we want. So it's hard to justify building something smaller that will be less performance efficient. These designs are based on a minecart simply because when the drills break the stone or cobble, everything will go straight to the cart's inventory. That interaction alone prevents an absurd amount of lag compared to other methods. Inaction is pretty much what you would expect. Once it syncs up with the stone generation, it just goes back and forth breaking the stone. This is what it managed to do before when I had both running for the same amount of time. How much is that? 5 stacks and a bit shy of the 6th, while the one that breaks cobble made a bit under 4 stacks. It's obviously a marginal difference, but it's good to keep in mind those mechanics. The point of using one over the other is still performance efficiency. Unlike this other cobble generator I was testing on. My thinking here is to keep the cart interaction to prevent most of the lag, but make it with pickaxes for faster mining. We would need to scale this up to really get an idea of how laggy it is, but I think this could be a really funny design. And it's honestly not a bad idea, all things considered. It does generate a ton of cobble pretty fast, which means that most of the time we could simply have it offline. In case it's not obvious, a machine not running will always be more performance efficient. I know, I'm kind of a genius sometimes. It's also quite funny to watch it run, and I think I can improve the timings even further with some ideas I have. But this is obviously the issue with this design. This has been running for maybe a minute or two between my tests and the few seconds we had it running just now. They're iron pickaxes, which explains why it lasted so little, but that's kind of the issue I mentioned at the start. We would need plenty of diamonds to make this design in any reasonable scale. My thought with the iron pickaxes is that maybe we can generate more iron with this cobble generator than what it consumes while mining. But I just don't think that's ever going to happen. On another note, I do think this design could be fun to set up. Because if we use diamond pickaxes with unbreaking and all of that, we will need to find out how to extract those pickaxes at certain times. Then repair them on a station or something and put them back into the deployer. That could be some fun logistics to figure out. Still though, that's a bit far from our current budget. So I also tested this atrocious idea. If you can't tell what I was trying to do with this, then you are probably better off that way. This is pretty much the bottom of the barrel, but I will explain it anyway. The idea is that every time the cart moves, the deployers try to act in every of the blocks they go through. But there is a little mechanic. Just activating the cart will already affect the very first block. It's not going to do anything else until it moves to the next one, but the interaction with the first block is what I'm interested about. The idea here is to see what happens if you chain several of these cart assemblers. Turning on and off a cart assembler takes a total of 8 ticks, and that cannot be shortened. So my thought was maybe chaining several of them I can break the mechanic and maybe it toggle faster or something. It obviously doesn't work in any meaningful way, and it's by far the slowest way of gathering cobble. I mean, who knows, maybe 8 ticks is faster than the drills, but the drills require 0 logistics or any kind of maintenance. Plus, just the redstone alone cycling on and off will cost more performance than just having the drills. In short, I haven't really made a decision on how I want to make this cobble generator. There are some good ideas in here, but I'm waiting for something to click in my head or something that looks funny and we can afford. I'm very tempted to improve on my old design though. I have come up with a few ideas that I think it would make things better. And it's still the design with the best performance by far. But who knows? I will leave it in the back, and if nothing funny comes up, I might go for it. Speaking of funny though, I found out a rather silly interaction. I imagine most people know that you can add several minecarts on the same rail. That's how I made my witch farm, and it's one of the easiest ways to control entity cramming. I'm not fully sure if there is any other reason to use this mechanic other than to stack up many carts with TNT. But it looks pretty normal, right? I mean, it's just a bunch of carts. They usually don't start to collision unless we push them a bit. Now check this out though. I know, and I agree, this is hilarious. There are no rails, no furnace, no power of any kind. For some reason they just go forever. One thing that I don't fully understand. Well, other than why the collision is bringing all the carts together, for some magical reason. But that aside, I don't get why it goes in an angle. Regardless of the length of the track, it always seems to turn to an angle when it has no more tracks. But hey, maybe this is the future though, diagonal tunnel bores. Look at this magnificence. This is just brilliant. And in case you were curious, yes, it works if you have an entire drill in one of the carts. It's the most bizarre thing. The drill is working with no redstone, with no powered rails. Just some normal rails and the power of magic. I honestly think this could make drills quite more simple to operate if it turns out to be stable enough. Sorry, I'm not lost for words. I'm just thinking about the 1,000 interactions I want to test out with this. Anyway, that's all fun and games, but we do have some work to do. There is a beefy cobble generator to be built. My idea is to use one chunk for every project that we work on. We don't really need to stick to the chunk grid, but I thought it would be cool to look at when most chunks have stuff in them and everything looks nicely organized. I took some time yesterday to make some designs on the creative world, and I think I have the proportions all set. It's going to use one stack of drills to build, and as you can see by the drill pattern, it's a bit more compact than the previous design I made. It's also important to note the little pit I'm making under the drills. This is to prevent the water from flooding the entire place. When we break the stone, water will spill through the drills and go downwards from there. This small pit will prevent that. It's going to be more obvious once we see it in action. The next step we want to build is the fluids. Water will go at the bottom, so we want to make the rails that will contain it, while the sides will get contained by the stone that we are generating. I always find it many times easier to build the stone where it's going to generate. That will contain our water, and it's going to make placing the lava so many times easier. Fluids can easily go from something super easy to a complete nightmare if done wrongly. So always make sure to take the easiest route. We already have the floor where the lava is going to be, so all that we are missing now is to add the railings on the sides to contain it. Filling the lava takes a bit more time since there are no infinite sources. But we have a lava generator just at our side, and like I said before, fluids really become super trivial if we do it in the right steps. I'm also going to cover the top part of the lava, just to make sure no one falls in it. This is something that damn slowly inculcated into me. I used to never take care of the safety of my machines because I always avoid stepping into danger. I never gave it a thought on how for other people, it's less obvious where the danger is if they haven't built said machine and they don't know what components are there. Regardless, I think that using the copycat panels to combine some glass with magma makes it look really cool from above. It's like some parts of the tank aren't fully molten, but you still get that feeling of flowing lava through some of the gaps. I think you should always try to make parts of your farms look cooler if given the chance. You would be surprised how some, otherwise boring and ugly farms can look cool and amazing with just a few small details. At this point in time, you might be wondering why am I still building if the farm is already done? Well, the silly truth is that I kinda crafted 4 stacks of drills. I feel like I'm almost obliged, by law really, to use them all at this point. I mean, I said at the start that I wanted to go all out with the industrial area. And to be honest, I also said that this design has close to no performance cost. So I guess this is me, putting my money where my mouth is, as the saying goes. But I'm sure we will find a way to consume this much cobble. After all, way too many things in Create start or involve cobblestone in some way or another. I'm even willing to make a bet with you all, right here, right now. If this massive cobble generator doesn't raise the MSPT of the server by more than 2, meaning if the base MSPT is 5, then no more than 7, then you all will have to go in the comments and leave a message on how cute and amazing I am. If it's more than 2, then I will spend 3 minutes during my next episode giving you all compliments. You can't back off now, we have a legal contract here, and breaking it means death sentence, probably. We still have 2 more floors to go, so I want to take a minute to mention something that was in my head this morning. I mentioned in the past that for a long time, I used to struggle with depression amongst other things. I don't want to touch on that right now, but I also mentioned how, for this last year or two, I have been doing a lot to change and move forward. Where I'm going with this is that, if I look back, I feel like I have improved so much in a couple of years, and I have done so much. But if I look at the present or the future, I don't know, it kind of feels like I'm still catching up. That I'm still several steps behind from where I should be, and that I still haven't made it fully out of that decade of my life that I sometimes think I already left behind. It doesn't demotivate me from keeping on going. I very much want to continue walking now that I finally have momentum in my life. But it's something that has been going through my head lately. Oh my gods. The build's still going? I tell you what, for the 2 people left watching, let me explain really quick what the workstation I want to build is about. I have poked a bit here and there that I have a crazy idea, but I haven't explained any details about it. Who knows, maybe someone in the comments will have good suggestions on how to tackle this project. The initial idea is that many farms have the same processing units. If you want to make iron, you need washing. If you want to also make gold, you need washing 2 more times. So why have 3 different places where we are washing items if we could just have one for all of them? So to fix that, I want to build the best version of each station. The best washing machine, the best smelter, and so on. Then I want to code the logistics of the storage system, so if I press a button, the items required to make gold will cycle around the workstation until it produces said gold, which includes going through the washing section twice. I have some details worked out, but there are many gaps that I honestly have no idea how to even start working on it. And yes, I realize now while editing this that I completely forgot to add lava at this upper level. But let me know in the comments if the idea of the workstation sounds cool and any suggestions on how to build any of the components of it. But look, it's finally over. We don't need to listen to Editor Batsy anymore. Thank gods for that. I think I have pretty much covered everything about the farm, so let's have a little test to see if everything works as it should. Wait, I guess I haven't explained this part. So, very quick summary. If we have a controller rail under a cart assembler, not only they are directional, they also force the contraption, or the cart by itself, to move forward. So the idea of this is to have a little station for the contraption, and also where it goes back to blocks so we can do maintenance. You can imagine having a longer track for like a field of wheat or something. If you don't want it working every time, you can simply have this in one end. So regardless if the rest of the rails are powered, it won't transfer into the controller rail. Of course, you don't always need or want to have the cart assembler for that. I just think it's nice in case I want to tweak things. And it's honestly the best way to make schematics, since we can't carry contraptions over. And that's about it, to be fair. All that babbling, but this farm is super simple. It's basically drills with lava and water. So let's fire it up. Let's see what this thing can do. Okay, I mean it looks good, I think. Stone generation is synchronized now. Yeah, this seems to be working perfectly. The water is nicely being contained with the trillion panels I added. The cobble is being generated. Awesome, this is working great. Even the funnels seem to keep up just fine. I thought 4 funnels would be overkill, but sometimes it's using all 4. Well, that's a job well done, I would say. So, after fixing the top layer of lava and running some tests on the server, these are the results. The MSVT seemed to go from a bit under 2, maybe 1.6 or something like that, up to 2.2 or so. It's hard to tell exactly. But it's marginally higher, and it's by far under the 2 MSVT we agreed on, and I totally didn't force it on everyone. But that proves what I said before. This design costs very little performance. My server is beefy, so of course on a much smaller server it will be completely different. But if you go conservative on the size, it's going to give the best performance compared to any other Cobble generator that I have seen. But wait, there is more. I made this smaller and more practical design, which uses cheap materials too. I will be leaving this one in the description below in case any of you wants to use it. I think the removal of the redstone circuit was an improvement enough to be worth uploading a new schematic. As always, everyone is welcome to come to my Discord if you have any problems setting up the schematic. I try to help when I'm around. But this will be it for this episode though. Lots of farming went into this project, but we also achieved a lot. Now that we have Cobble, we can finally start making more farms. I hope you Fangies had fun watching this episode, and I will see you all in the next one.